She hadn't been back to her parents' house in years. The familiar scent of lemon polish and fresh coffee welcomed her the moment she stepped inside. Family photographs still lined the hallway, and the old grandfather clock continued its steady rhythm as though time had never left this place. After lunch, her parents wandered into the backyard, leaving her alone with the quiet. Almost without thinking, she walked toward her old bedroom. The room felt smaller than she remembered. The walls were bare now, but faint outlines of posters still marked where pieces of her younger self had once been proudly displayed. A bookshelf leaned slightly to one side. A few dusty trophies sat untouched on the top shelf. She smiled to herself. Opening the closet, she reached for an old shoebox tucked beneath a stack of blankets. Inside were movie tickets, birthday cards, friendship bracelets, and at the very bottom, a blue cloth diary. Her diary. She brushed away the dust and sat on the edge of the bed. For a long moment, she simply stared at it. Opening it felt like introducing herself to someone she used to know. The first page was titled in neat handwriting, "My 5-Year Plan." She couldn't help but laugh. Below it was a carefully written list. Study international relations, become a foreign affairs officer, represent my country, travel the world, leave an impact. Every goal carried the confidence of someone who believed life moved in straight lines. She turned another page. There were sketches of places she hoped to visit, timelines for promotions she was certain she'd earn, and pages filled with dreams carefully measured against birthdays. Then, squeezed into the bottom corner of one page, almost as an afterthought, she found a single sentence, "Maybe write a book someday." She smiled. That little dream had been the only one that came true. Life had carried her somewhere she never expected. She never studied international relations. She never became a diplomat. Instead, she became a writer. For years, she believed that meant she disappointed the girl who filled these pages with impossible certainty. But sitting there in the quiet of her childhood bedroom, she wasn't so sure anymore. She thought about the readers who had written to tell her a story helped them through grief, the strangers who found hope inside chapters she almost never published, the people she would never meet whose lives had quietly crossed paths with hers through words alone. Maybe impact had simply arrived wearing a different name. She closed the diary and rested it against her heart. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Then she shook her head. "No, thank you. Thank you for dreaming so boldly. Thank you for believing in a future you couldn't possibly predict. You didn't fail. You simply handed the story to someone who needed different chapters." She looked around the room one last time. Nothing here had changed. She had. But disappointments she once carried had become lessons. The closed doors had redirected her. The heartbreaks had softened her. The obstacles she fought so hard to escape had quietly shaped the woman she had become. She slipped the diary into her bag before walking outside. The afternoon sun stretched across the backyard, where her parents laughed over something she couldn't hear. It wasn't the life she'd planned. It was the life she'd built, messy, unexpected, beautiful. For the first time, she understood she wasn't grateful despite everything she'd been through. She was grateful because of it. The younger version of herself dreamed of changing the world. The woman she became discovered that sometimes changing one person's world was enough. She smiled as the evening light settled across the yard. The girl she didn't become had given her dreams. The woman she became gave them meaning. And as she walked back toward the house, she realized the book of her life had never gone off course. It had simply become a story her younger self could never have imagined.